Okay, so starting off for our second video of review, we're getting into the roles of the president, which includes all of the special benefits and privileges the president is able to employ as the leader of the executive branch. Our first role that we explored is that of the chief executive. What this means simply is the president is serving the actual specified job of the United States Constitution in Article 2, which is to enforce all American laws. That includes for all citizens and non citizens. By carrying out the laws of the nation, the president is ensuring that all of the agencies and bureaus and commissions are effectively doing their job. The president is not able to stroll around and actually detain people. The president is not going to handcuff a person and take them to their local police office. The president's job is more so to serve as an advisor or to serve as a official manager of those agencies that do carry out laws, and that includes all of their agents. One of the biggest privileges or benefits the president is able to employ as a special power as chief executive is to carry out executive orders. When a president issues an executive order, this decision carries with it the weight of an actual federal law, as if it were passed by Congress. One thing that we do want to reflect on here, kind of merging multiple roles together here, the president is able to serve here as also a chief legislator, since the president is the one who officially signs all laws into power that are passed by Congress. So, in a very real sense, the president also makes laws happen, but then must carry laws out. One of the other ways that we see the president serving as a chief executive is to appoint members to federal positions. Typically, here, some of the key areas where we see the president, after getting approval from the Senate, these positions would include federal judges, cabinet members who, again, advise and assist the president, or representatives for the United States to other countries as ambassadors, and simply as major military advisors. There is a caveat. The president is unable to remove federal judges because these positions are appointed for life. Now, this is a unique power. Again, the president is putting someone that they choose for a life seat, if you will, or a life term to these positions of government. So, in a very real sense, even though the president's term ends in 4 or 8 years, a piece of them is still left behind by the people they appoint to these offices. The only position that they cannot remove, again, are federal judges. The people, and again, the Senate and the House of Representatives, will make this decision. Again, one thing that we look at with executive orders, this is a regulation. The president is regulating what exactly is going on with this decision. So it is regulating or changing our actual life and practices. Usually, we can recognize that executive orders do come with a set of controversial decisions. Many Americans who feel they did not choose this president may look upon their executive orders unfavorably, since usually these executive orders will lean a specific way politically. Our second role that we explored is that of the chief diplomat. We must recognize that the United States president does, as we will look at here again in a different role, serves as a representative for the people of the United States. And therefore, the president will represent the American people and the American government with other foreign leaders. As director of foreign policy, every president must have a decision or a set of decisions and ideas that they wish to enact to keep the United States peaceful with other countries, to build alliances, and to hopefully work together with other countries to stop conflicts before they become something more serious, like war. Another example of a sort of perk or privilege or power the president carries in this role is that of the executive agreement. By issuing an executive agreement, the president, with no permission needed from any other branch, is able to formally enter into an agreement with another country's leader in the act of making peace and prosperity happen, not just for the United States and that country, but hopefully for the entire world. Our third power or role that we look at for the president is that of the commander-in-chief. As the commander-in-chief, the president is serving as the highest ranking military enforcer or military leader in the entire country. Again, this does not mean that the president has the ability to suit up and go to war with their troops. This does not mean that the president is always able to just make immediate decisions without any advisement or, credibility. The president simply is entertaining all of the actions of our armed forces and is able to make decisions that do put the United States hopefully in a position of peace. But in times of war and conflict, the president will serve as the chief decision maker. Now, I earlier mentioned that the president can't just make reckless, random decisions. The president does not have really the ability to just say, I'm going to nuke the entire world. There are many other chains of command and people who must be advised and pulled upon before such a serious decision would be made. However, again, the president does serve as the chief representative of the military. One such way that we see some limitations on the president is through the War Powers Act of 1973. The president does have the ability to determine if troops are necessarily needed to be sent into conflict, and they may go into that conflict for upwards of 60 days. After the 60-day mark, if Congress has not formally declared war in that certain situation, the president is required to take those troops out of conflict and bring them home. Now, technically here, if the president is going to make a major move with troops, the president must give Congress, which again represents the people, upwards of 48 hours notice before doing so. This does not include small surgical strikes by special operations groups, which again kind of falls into the category of this is immediate and this is necessary for national security. However, again, we can see a check and balance on the presidency with Congress. Congress is going to be the formal branch that will declare war. It is only the president who can send troops into battle. Our fourth role that we look at for the president is that of chief legislator. Simply here we recognize the president has the ability to influence law. Earlier we mentioned that the chief executive role is where the president carries out law. However, the president also has the power to sign law into act. Most presidents will have plans or ideas that they want to see enacted. Many constituents or citizens will elect presidents based on their direction and aspirations for certain laws they want to see passed. So the president does have the power in his or her favor to actually sponsor bills that will hopefully become law in their opinion. The president may also reach out and discuss individually with certain committees of Congress and try to influence or at least show some different perspective into the decisions they make regarding certain bills that may become laws. As president, the president does also have the ability to communicate on a daily basis with Congress and representatives. The president may offer actual televised speeches where they speak to the people directly and sort of share what, in their opinion, are necessary laws that need to be passed. The president can also hold what is known simply as the State of the Union address. In the State of the Union, the president really sets the tempo and the tone for the general attitude, and again, the hopeful prosperity of the entire country. The president will address all members of Congress, including the American people and the justices and everyone else, to kind of guide them and say, this is the status of our entire country. This is what is working very well. These are some things that need to be changed. This is my plan for making that happen. Also, within the president's budget, which we looked at in the last video, money in the presidential budget can be used to help foster or support and sponsor potential laws. Moving into the fifth role of the president also serves as the highest ranking member for the political party that actually got them elected. Now, we must recognize that while the position is open to all Americans, it is, again, sort of a unique, kind of almost controversial concept. Many people have argued that to become a president, it requires a lot of money and support. Representing all 50 states is no easy task. Having the money to simply afford to represent or run the candidacy is going to be very necessary, very high. And an average citizen won't have enough money to do that. And that's where the political party steps into play. By representing the entire party, the president is chosen sort of as the number one representative of what all Republicans or Democrats or other parties that exist stand for. One of the biggest ways the president will fulfill this role is they are able to appoint members to the specific party. such as like a chairman for the Republican National Committee or maybe the Democratic National Committee. They will continue to work as president for the party and represent the American citizens who align themselves with that party. A very lofty goal is for what is known as bipartisanship, which means that a president works to get both political parties working in unison, which again is a very difficult goal since obviously both parties have different opinions on many, many different practices and policies and ideas. Our seventh goal that we examine is going to be that of the economic planner. As economic planner, we recognize that the president serves as the number one official person who handles the budget of the United States government. The president's job here is to ensure that the budget is sound, that it is fair, and that those individuals who are managing the money are doing so with the goal and interest of not only spending money wisely, but saving money, which is something that we look at for a surplus of money. Unfortunately, we don't have that right now, which we haven't had for a very long time, considering all the conflicts that we've been involved in. But when a president is running for office, they are expected as a candidate to share how they plan on making the country more money than being in debt, and that is a part of their economic budget. The last major position, before we get back to the one that I accidentally skipped, is the head of state. Not to say that this is not important, it's just that we must remember that the president does serve as the official citizen of the United States. They represent the people. The goal here is to see the president serving as a person who is of everyday practice. And even though the president does have a very, very significant job, we still must respect the fact that the president is a human being. And the president is a citizen of our country. And so we will see the president serving as more ceremonial, symbolic figurehead positions, such as throwing out the first pitch for opening day, maybe attending the Super Bowl, or parading and supporting those athletes who represent the United States in the Olympics. That simply serves as the head of state, and the first lady or the first husband will do the exact same thing. The vice president, too, will do this. Now, I did skip one role, and that role is as the chief judiciary leader. We must appreciate again that the president does have the ability to impact the courts, and that, simply put, is where the president appoints federal judges to different court positions, which does impact how our laws are interpreted. We'll carry more of that in a different video. A few last opportunities that we look at for some other perks and benefits the president has in these numerous roles. First and foremost, this again connects to our most recent role or power of the president, and that is as the chief judiciary. As the sort of highest ranking judge in a way, the president does have the ability to grant forgiveness in a certain series of ways. A president may issue what is known as a formal pardon, which means that that person is formally cleared of all charges the president deems necessary. A president may grant what's known as a reprieve, which simply says that a punishment that a court decides can be washed away. And a president may give a group pardon, as you have just heard there, to a group of people, depending on what that act or situation was. That's it for our recording notes on the different roles of the president, including their perks and benefits. Again, if you have any questions, reach out and let me know. Thanks and have a great day.